Hey girls, Maria Menounos here, author of the Every Girl's Guide to Life. Want to know my best tips and secrets for organization, travel, weight loss, beauty, fashion, and everything else in between? Go to bing.com/Maria and pick up my new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. Now the largest new media platform on the web and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith. Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and now streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for the Vampire Diaries. Tonight's host is DJ Jesse Janedy. Joining Jesse will be AFTERBUZZ co-hosts Emily Harbert and Janora McDuffie. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest Vampire Diaries news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, DJ Jesse Janedy.
Yo, what up, After Buzzers? It's your boy, DJ Jesse Janedy, and I am super corny as ever, excited right now. I am joined here in the studio by my dear friend Emily and Janora.
What up?
And
hello.
We are super Vampire Diaries fanatics.
Yes.
We finally got the network to let us get on here. Well, it wasn't finally. I met these two lovely ladies.
Yes.
And we all kind of came out to each other.
That's right.
And we are all Vampire Diary freaks. Emily came into the studio. What show did you come
I
in
did
for?
The Social Network.
The Social Network, and kind of poked around and found out she was a big Vampire Diaries. And Janora is on our Modern Family.
I am with the sisters.
With the sisters.
Yes.
And she was inquiring about the Vampire Diaries, and I just couldn't even hold anything together when she said this.
And
but
we became instant soulmates.
we are. But before we start, because I need like an oxygen mask after this episode, I have a few announcements to make. First of all, the owner of AFTERBUZZ TV, Miss Maria Menounos.
Yeah, Maria.
Is on a tour right now, and you can actually check out online and find out which bookstore nearest you. You can actually meet Maria and have a signing, get your book signed. It comes out April 12th, and it's called The Every Girl's Guide to Life. It's an A to Z guide of everything you would need. And it's not just, I want to say, it's not just for girls, because I've read this, and there's so many tips in here that it's just like things that make your life so much simpler and easier. And it's like, really I could have spent all this money, and it's right here in one book.
And in fact, on the cover, she looks like Elena from afar.
She actually does.
Doesn't she? Yeah.
Oh, Vampire
Nice
Diaries.
transition.
If we need a new star on the show, Miss Maria Menounos. Another thing, AFTERBUZZ TV is officially accessible to anybody right now. We are live on Ustream at the moment. You can find us and download us on iTunes, subscribe to us. You can also visit us at AFTERBUZZTV.com. And there's also an app called Stitcher. This is our newest little venture. It's for your iPhones and whatever Droid phones and whatever phones you have. You can download Stitcher, and you can play our podcast.
Nice.
Straight from there. And within the coming weeks, we're actually working on our own app, an AFTERBUZZ TV app. I'm very excited
Go
about
ahead,
this.
AFTERBUZZ.
Moving on up. We are.
Taking it to the next level.
So yeah, that's our little surprise news for the beginning of the episode. But let's please
AFTERBUZZ
Yes,
TV exclusive.
Woo!
I'm just so excited right now. Please, let's get into Vampire Diaries.
Yes, and if you are listening, he is so excited because that is a huge Kool-Aid smile I'm getting from across the table.
It's a Kool-Aid smile because they took a 6-week break. And I was telling the girls earlier that I didn't want to watch the last episode when it came out because I wanted it to be fresh. I like to build my excitement. When it comes to these type of shows, I need to build that excitement to watch the next episode, which kind of, is like running into a brick wall because now I watch the new episode and I'm just fiending for next week, which is what they're supposed to be, but whatever. So I watched both these episodes back to back and I'm just like on a high.
On a high.
From Vampire Diaries.
Oh, yeah.
TBD high. Best kind there is.
Absolutely. So let's get into the episode, a little breakdown. We're kind of going to recap the last episode, which was the house guest episode, as well, because that and episode 17, Know Thy Enemy, they kind of are linked together. Let's start with Matt and Caroline, because this is like, how you guys feel? Let's talk about this. How do you guys feel about Matt and Caroline just being together as a couple right now?
I like them. I liked pairing her up with him because it took him away from the whole Elena, Stefan triangle thing.
Right.
I think the Elena, Stefan, Damon triangle, that's the real triangle. You didn't really need Matt there.
Right.
And so I liked him and Caroline, and with the addition of Tyler in that triangle, it was great. I really liked it. And I liked that he was the only one who didn't know. It's fun to have innocent people, or I think innocent's the right word, or oblivious. And I like the way they've gone with it. How she didn't tell him, and the fact that she did is pretty insane.
It is.
Well, I actually wanted Caroline to end up with fine-ass Tyler.
Me
I actually
too.
I like Tyler.
No,
too. I
you
like
just
it.
jumped on the Matt bandwagon. Don't jump on my
didn't-
Tyler
I didn't-
bandwagon.
No, I like that they put them together, but I said I like the Matt Caroline Tyler dynamic, like the Tyler, because they were helping each other. I did like that dynamic.
Yeah, I think Matt, before he's in any serious relationship, needs counseling. He's still not over his sister Vicki. His mom's a MILF, and, I think he's just got a lot of drama. I think it's sweet, but I just wanted Caroline to be with Tyler. Like the way she helped him out in his transition and figuring out, she was there for a brother. And yeah, I wanted that to happen. And so I just think, they're just a sweet element.
Yeah,
But I
right.
knew
Yeah.
it couldn't work because you already have one human vampire couple that's working just fine.
Right.
So you
That's
knew
true.
something had to not go according to plan.
Well, so speaking of plan, in this episode, Caroline, they kind of kept the Matt and Caroline situation separate from everybody else. Usually Caroline's
Yeah.
involved with the big scheme of things, and in this episode, it was kind of focused on her relationship with Matt. As we find out, Matt was bitten by, off the top of my head, who bit Matt?
No,
he
he was
stabbed
never.
in the neck.
Yeah, he
Oh,
was
right.
That's
hurt
what it
in the
was.
bar
Right,
fight.
he was hurt, and she had to use her blood to heal him.
save him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, there we
Yes.
go.
And something happened before, because when she's talking on the phone to Stefan in the car, she says, I slipped vervain into his Coke at the bar. So I think she had, at the Mystic Grill, so I think she had already been planning to tell him,
Right.
so she wouldn't have to compel him.
Well, I mean, her whole dynamic with this is Caroline really likes Matt.
She does.
Yeah.
She does.
Like, she does.
Yeah.
I believe she's going to fall in deep, true love with Tyler.
Yes.
But
That's a good
right now, this is the first guy in her life who's
loved her.
loved her, cared about her, and he's a sweet. He is a sweetheart.
is a
As
nice
goofball
guy.
as he is,
Yeah.
he is a sweet guy. And she really wants to be on, and she's not a liar. She every time she lies, she feels really guilty about
Yeah.
it. And she just, you can tell she's been wanting to say this to him. She's been wanting to tell him for a while. Like, she hates lying to him. Every time she has to lie to him, she makes a comment about it. So in this episode, she slipped it into his Coke at the Mystic Grill. After he was stabbed in the neck by Dr. Jonas, which we will totally get into in a little bit. But he was stabbed in the neck, and she had to save him. I almost felt like she was going to bite him. To turn him into a vampire, and I was like, "What? This is about to get crazy if they do this." But they didn't. She saved him. She let him drink his blood, and we find out that she kind of had to confess everything. And Matt's reaction was that. Did you feel it was a typical reaction? Is that how you would react in that situation?
Well, I think what made his reaction such is because of his sister.
Yeah, that's what
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up, because the Vicki thing, she died in episode 6 of season 1.
You've got a good
So-
memory, Emily.
Yeah, pretty crazy. So the fact that he was bringing that back, or that they brought that back, was so shocking, because you would think his initial reaction would be, oh my God, my girlfriend's a vampire, what you have. But for him to say, you killed my sister, everybody forgot about that. I forgot about that. Like, and then I look back, it was actually Stefan who actually killed her. But it's pretty, that took me by surprise that he went straight to that.
It didn't take me by surprise. I forgot totally. Like, I was like, oh yeah, Vicki, right,
Yeah.
remember her. And when I think of Vicki, I don't think Matt, I think Jeremy.
Yeah,
Right.
that's true.
Jeremy needs counseling too.
Well,
They all need to be in therapy.
I mean, Jeremy and Matt they need to just go sit someplace and learn some love lessons, because guys. But with Matt, it comes to the point of, I understand this. I mean, if your brother or sister died, that's huge, you know. So I understood why he freaked out the way he did. I thought it was a little naive of him to just randomly be like, "You killed my sister."
Yeah.
You believe she's the only vampire? Like, I know it's kind of dramatic to even believe in vampires, but knowing Caroline, which makes me feel like you're not really in love with Caroline, because you don't really know who she is. To know that she's sweet and she's telling you this for a reason. And the way she told him, I think she told him in very carefully. I think she was very cautious about how she did it. And even the way of saying, like, don't be upset, like, calm down, like, I wanted to tell you for so long. It just was, he was very irrational. And he took it to a level where it almost kind of made it unbelievable to me at that point. I felt like he should have just sat and listened a little bit deeper, rather than storming out and causing that scene.
The way he reacted was kind of a turnoff.
Yeah.
And I was kind of, because I love how she told Tyler. I thought it was like really funny and really, because how he thinks she's a werewolf. And she just throws him against the wall. And I've read the script, and they call it "vamp it up," like how her eyes they say like she vamps, and how she's like, "No, I'm a vampire."
Well, I think Tyler was able to take it that way because he was going through something, because he was a werewolf. I think the complete normal human being really might freak out.
And I like that about the whole thing with Tyler and Caroline. In a relationship, just a normal relationship, that's what works out. You know, being there for another through something very dramatic. Caroline went through something dramatic by herself. So, you know, she had Stefan who kind of helped her out. But Stefan's
He already had a
love,
girlfriend.
Exactly.
Anyway, I like their dynamic is really cute.
Like brother
Stefan
and sister.
and Caroline, it's really sweet.
That is
really
nice.
is.
It is
It's really
sweet.
sweet.
It reminds me of Stefan's best friend.
Yeah, and he actually says that in an
Oh.
episode. She says, "Why are you so nice to me?" And he says, "You remind me of Lexi."
Yes.
I remember that. That was sweet.
yeah.
That was real sweet.
Now, okay, but let's kind of rewind. In the bar scene, Caroline gets up on stage, and this was just this was awkward for me. This was the Mystic Grill. I mean, I compare the show to Buffy all the time. is I can't even think off the top of my head what the bar they used to go to all the time was. For Caroline to get up on stage randomly, that seemed so out of character for her. And it was like, what are we plugging right now?
I think that was the point, though, for it to be out of character. I think they wanted her, it was like making a big gesture.
See, for me, it wasn't necessarily out of character of Caroline. It was out of the character for the show.
Yeah. No,
Get on
yes.
with
Yeah.
the plot. I don't want this to
Exactly.
turn into a musical. We've already got Glee. Give me the Vampire Diaries. I was mad. I was very mad. It was a lovely song and lovely moment, but boo, let's move on. Give me half the song or a bar, but the whole song, it
Yeah.
was killing
I think
me.
I actually fast-forwarded through that part. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I fast-forwarded through the song because also those moments get very awkward because when everybody's just like kind of standing there listening to her sing and nobody really knows why, and I'd rather have somebody make like a big speech, like an emotional, like
Right,
I love
exactly.
you speech than like a song, a random song.
Right. Now, Janora, you said
Yes.
she actually is, I think her name is
Yes,
Candace
her
Acola.
name is Candace Acola, and what I found out doing a little research is that she's been singing longer than she's been acting, and she
Really?
writes and records songs of her own still.
What did you think of her voice?
I tuned it out. I was just mad.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter
It
if she
didn't, yeah.
sang like a mockingbird or, a witch. Like, it didn't matter.
So
I was
Vampire
over
Diaries, let's cut the singing out. And please, I know Kat Graham, who plays Bonnie on the show, she's a singer too.
That's right.
Let's
And a
not-
dancer.
And, yeah, she's a great dancer.
She's gonna be
She's a better dancer than a
Honey,
singer. I hate to say
Honey
it, but-
too. She's
Yes,
the
she
new
is.
Honey.
Is she?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I'll watch it. I love her. I love her.
I
I'm a
do love
fan.
her, but I don't want them. I don't want this to be a
Go that
repetitive-
direction.
No, no, no,
Not
no,
at
no.
all. Not at all.
So I hope this wasn't like a start to be like, okay, well, we don't want to make it obvious with Kat being,
Do you know it's weird though? I think a lot of shows do this. One Tree Hill did it, where it's like at their hangout they'll have an open mic night. It seems that it's a staple in a lot of 1 hour dramas, even before Glee,
Yeah.
that they'll have like an open night because there's always somebody on the cast who can sing,
Right.
and whether it's to do some emotional montage within it, but it seems to be very frequent that these shows do it.
Take out that staple. Hate it.
So at the end of the episode with Matt and Caroline, we see Matt comes back to Caroline and he's like, I want you to tell me everything. And I was almost like, oh, okay, go Matt.
Yeah.
And we find out she told him everything, and he asked her to.
Here's what.
Well, I was just going to say, I thought it was a lovely scene, and my heart went out to Caroline. I was hurt for her.
Right.
Even after she poured out her heart and, like, this
You-
is what it is, he was just like, well, I don't want to remember any of this.
Right.
And I felt really bad. I thought that was a nice scene.
Yeah.
Here's what I wish they would have done is they weren't exactly clear as to what she told him.
Yes.
So I was like, does he know about Stefan and Damon? Does he know? How much does he know? And potentially that can come up in next week's, and we'll talk about predictions later. But I was kind of like, wait, I'm confused. Did she just say, oh, this is how I became a vampire? This is...
Well, that is lovely writing. So we do tune in. We don't know. I think that was great.
Absolutely.
I thought,
kind of-
yeah.
And so as we find out, Matt leaves, and gets in the cop car with Caroline's mother.
Who I think is gay, by the way.
In the show?
No, well they give
Oh,
her
in real life, you
Well,
see.
no, on the show. On the show, I don't know anything about him in real life. And God loves everybody. That wasn't a judgmental statement. But they make her seem like such this
Absolutely.
this butch woman
And
on
do
the
we know
show.
what happened to Caroline's father?
We don't. We
No,
don't.
her father's gay.
Really?
Yeah, her father's gay.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Vampire Diaries.
Wow.
Her
I'm
father,
sorry.
yeah.
Talk about a
she's,
diverse show.
There's actually a really funny line where her mom, Sheriff Forbes, comes and tries to talk to her about boys. It was like when she had that like little fling with Damon.
Yes.
And she says, Mom, if I want to talk about boys, I'll call Dad.
Yes.
I do not remember that.
I do remember that. I do remember
Wow.
that.
Emily, what episode was that?
It was early on. It was do you know what episode I think? It was the one where they get the stone where
The Moonstone.
no, the crystal, where they get the crystal. It's like one of the first Founders Day parties.
Huh.
Yeah.
Where with Tyler was turning.
No, this is season 1.
Oh, wait,
it was
okay.
season 1. Yeah.
So as we find out now that it did crush me when Caroline, he said to Caroline, I don't want to remember this, but it crushed me even more once he got in that car.
Yeah.
Because it was like, really, you guys are really gonna. There's something epic is about to happen right now, and y'all gonna throw a wrench in it right now.
Yeah.
Because this woman, Caroline's mother,
she is on it.
She does not want vampire. She is the
I was
exterminator.
thinking,
Yes.
When the second he got in that car and he said that, I was like, if they have this woman kill her own daughter,
Right.
I will flip out. I was like, I don't even know how I'd handle
Well,
that.
remember when she did find out, her pre-compelled days, when she found out she didn't want anything to do with Caroline.
And then they had that in a scene where I actually teared up, and she had Caroline explain to her everything to her, and she was crying and they were both crying, and because they don't have a good relationship, so it was them connecting, and it was such a great moment, and then she takes it all away from her. So I was like, oh my God, like maybe hopefully they can get to that point again, but that won't happen. And I think one of the reasons for this plot line was we kind of, with the whole Klaus thing, with all of that, every question has kind of been answered, and we're kind of just waiting to see how it pans out.
Right.
So I think this is a way to kind of keep us guessing or have some mystery, a little more mystery than there was before.
I agree, but I also think that there's still many, many unanswered questions.
Oh.
I mean,
I think the one big one is just, how did Alaric end up in Klaus's body now? Or Klaus end up in Alaric's body?
Yeah. Well, but that goes back to like Isabel's time, and well, let's talk about Alaric, and who goes by Rick nowadays, and Jenna and their relationship. Go ahead.
No, I'm trying to be a polite co-host.
Girl,
and not,
say what you want to say. We have fans.
Well, you know what? I don't buy their relationship.
Me either.
They have never
yeah.
taken the time to really develop their love. So it just seems like they're dating. Because
Exactly.
remember,
Exactly.
before Rick even came into the picture, Jenna was head over heels for that dude who left town.
Yes.
What, the news reporter guy
Yep.
or something?
But she's always just
Yeah,
trying to find
she
something.
just seems like she's never been stable in love. So
I
don't
want
feel
it to
for her.
happen. I do want it to happen,
Yeah.
but I don't buy it.
Also,
No.
like, it pissed me off so much, or not even pissed me off, just like, it was one of those, like, what? This makes no sense. When she is, the episode where she's showing Elijah around.
Oh, right.
And-
Like
Yes.
she wanted to give him
Yeah.
some too.
And
Well-
he comes, and Alaric comes up, and she's like, this is my friend, Alaric. And it's like, wait, why is she embarrassed to tell Elijah that it's her boyfriend?
Well,
like,
I think
it
she's
was
kind of like in the.
what?
I think she's in the place where she doesn't really know what to say because
Right.
there's so many secrets. And
Yeah.
she
Yeah.
mentioned in this episode, like, I don't, how can I feel comfortable with somebody and he can't tell me, anything?
Yeah.
And this is where I get frustrated with Jenna's character. I get it, how you said we got to have, the people who are in the not know.
Yeah.
I don't like it with her character.
Mhm.
I feel she needs to know, or I
Yeah.
feel like they just need to get rid of her.
I feel
And I don't want to say get rid of her because I think she could be. She's a interesting, funny character on the show to have.
Yeah.
But like, really, she lives in this house that all this stuff is going on, and it goes back to, I'm gonna say it again, Buffy and Buffy's mother. But there came a point where Buffy's mother had to be involved with it, and with Jenna, she's too young. She's and she's dating this man who has such a past, and Elena's in so much danger right now.
Yeah.
It's not safe to have two people because now Jenna's in danger because she knows nothing.
It's one of those things, I didn't get it. It was like, why won't they tell her? If you know more, that makes it safer. Like, the more you know in this situation, the safer you are. They're like, we're not going to tell her because we're protecting her.
Right.
No, you're not. Like,
She's gonna invite everybody into the damn house.
exactly.
Like,
she invited Elijah in. Like, it's like this weird thing that they're just like, oh, we don't want to tell her because it's not like she's going to tell anybody. It's like I kind of understood with Matt or all these other characters, there's a risk of them telling the world and everybody finding out about it. But Jenna's not going to tell him. And it's like you said before, it's like she's right there. It's under her nose.
And the biggest secret, I mean, I'm kind of going to go into another segment right here, but is Katrina. Now, Katrina is back, and she is just evil. And she looks just like Elena. So do we feel this is really safe for Jenna to not know that there is somebody who looks just like the girl you're supposed to be the guardian of who could kill you, and who
already tried to kill you.
Yeah, and can come into this house and freely and do as she wants, or just see you on the street and walk you down any alley, or it doesn't make sense to me anymore.
Well, I think maybe the reason they're keeping her not in the know is so we can be mad at that decision. You know,
That's true.
Just so it can be one person that doesn't know.
It's something to talk about.
Something to talk about. Yep.
And like, what is this? Why are they doing this to this poor girl? It's like a raw meat just hanging over there.
Right.
So okay, Kat.
I love her.
I do.
There are moments with her where it's like I like her more than Elena sometimes because she's just so awesome and she's just, I don't know, I love her to death. I think she's so fun and so I think she's an amazing character.
I do feel you. Sometimes I do like her more than Elena in the fact of Elena aggravates me when she like wants to be this hero and it's like, girls, please sit down.
Sit down.
Like, oh no, I need to save all of my friends.
She's like,
I'm gonna kill myself and not tell anybody the plan. Like everybody's working together to save you and you're gonna go.
She's like, I'm not gonna let anybody die for me. It's like shut up.
They're vampires. They're dead. You're the only one alive right now.
Yeah.
You're the key to the show. Without you, girl, we ain't got nothing. We ain't gonna watch a show about Kat and Damon and Stefan. We know that story. So that's where she aggravates me. But so Kat's back and she's working with the good guys, the Scooby Gang. You know, she's working with Stefan, Damon, and they pulled her out of the tomb, and she's promised.
No, remember they didn't pull her out.
No. Elijah and John.
Elijah dead. The spell on wore off. The compulsion wore off. So she was able to leave.
Right. So, but she's out now, and she's wiggled her way into, this team now.
There's this one. Obviously, you really never know who Katherine's aligned with.
Yeah.
And there's this one moment in the show, and when she says, I'm squarely on Team U, and she turns around and she just has that like evil little smirk on her face, and they call her back and she turns around, she like smiles, or I think she says, I'm on Team U after that. And it just kind of emphasizes that one look that you never know what she's going to do, which I think is so great. And the thing I love about her, too, is when they went to those flashbacks of 1864 of her and Stefan, you really could see that she really did love Stefan.
Yeah.
Which and there are moments where I'm like, because personally, I'm a very big Elena and Damon fan. So, I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but I think she said it best when he told her that when Stefan told her that he hated her, and she said that sounds like the beginning of of a love story, not the end of one. And I think I think he does hate her, but there's some love there, and I think she's awesome.
I sense that.
Yeah.
I definitely sense that, and there are times where I get worried because I'm a Stefan and Elena fan.
Oh.
But I do see when I look at how I said about the relationship between Caroline and Tyler. You work with somebody in a relationship, and that's what builds the concrete, and you grow from that.
Yeah.
I see more concrete with Elena and Damon.
Yeah.
Working together, and she's helped him, from being this bitter, mean vampire, and now he's doing everything good because he understands Elena and because Elena's...
Well, understands / loves.
Yeah. By the way, like, the thing is with Stefan and Elena, they seem to fall in love very fast, and it was just like, I love you. And it's like, you're 17 years old. Like, and she's like,
But think
I
about
love
when you were
like,
17.
I know. No, you're right. But it's just like, there's something that it's like, they're going to be together for forever. It's just like, it happened very quickly. And there's never been really, if you think of all teen serialized dramas, the girl in the love triangle, she's gotten with somebody else. She's never been with anybody else since she's been with Stefan. So, I don't know. It's kind of like, I love you, I love you, I love you. It's a little too much of that. I mean...
it's definitely a romance novel. And that's what sickens me about it, because I see more of the actual relationship between her and Damon.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
that's where I'm like,
I see what
Stefan,
you
like...
guys mean.
I
see what you guys
I don't
mean.
see anything...
Well, I think probably because the storyline of the whole series started off with them together.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, so we didn't see the love and
Exactly.
relationship build where we see that relationship building with Damon and Elena.
And very interesting of the writers, because, you know, they keep us in the not know with certain situations. Like
we're feeling
that
like
one.
Jenna. We're feeling like Jenna.
Yeah, like, dang, girl, I can relate to you. No. But so then also, but we do see the relationship between Stefan and Katherine.
Exactly.
And it's almost like when he gets mad at Katherine, it is like, and it was so funny, I was calling it Katrina because I'm thinking of the
Katerina.
At the
At
end, when Klaus is like,
yeah. I was like,
Katerina.
it took me a second. I was
I
like,
love
who
that.
came back?
I love Katerina.
I loved it. I love that voice. But anyways, you know, you see the relationship and they grow. And then when he gets mad at her, he gets so...
But don't you understand why?
Yes.
Well, do you remember that episode where
Yes.
where he found out that she knew where he was all along, and his whole life he devoted to finding Katherine again?
Wait, this is Damon.
Damon, yes,
that's
Damon,
Damon.
yes.
But-
Yeah.
Were you talking about?
No. But I
he was talking
understand.
about
I understand
Stefan, yeah.
the love
Oh,
Damon
when-
has. It's
Yeah.
jealous. But to me, it's
With
more jealousy.
Yeah, with
With
Damon.
Stefan, whenever he gets mad at Katherine, it's like real anger, and it's anger like every time I loved you and you screwed me over. Every time he whips her up against the thing, but he'll never kill her. He wants to. He says he wants to, but it's just this strong. It's so passionate. It's almost more passionate than Elena.
Yeah,
and
exactly. And it's one of
Stefan.
those things. I think he's convinced himself that he didn't love her in some ways, because in that it was the season premiere, and when he's like, I never loved you, you compelled me, and she's like, no, I didn't. Like, and one of the things too, she said, she's like, look at your choice of women. You really think you haven't thought of me in 150 years?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you're in love with a girl who looks exactly like me.
Right.
Like, of course he still has something
some
for her.
infatuation, and that's it will disappoint me if it happens and they
It
bring
won't
that.
at all.
I mean, depending on how long the series
Well, now,
goes.
you know, Katherine sold Elena down the river.
Yeah.
So she can forget about it when it comes to Damon and Stefan, if there was any possibility. If it, you know, because she completely lied.
Yeah, but you never know when they might need her again, because that was very interesting how the whole situation where Dr. Jonas came in and, you know, Stefan walked in with who we thought was Elena into the house.
That was one of my favorite
moments
And
ever.
I thought it was funny because I was in a writing class and we would talk about like our oh wow moments of the week, and for me that was it, because you truly had no idea who it was, and the fact that they started out with the episode like that, with her walking downstairs, and
it's getting easy to...
Yeah, it was so easy. And then, so it's fun because you're pointing out to yourself, oh, this has to be her. Oh, no, this is her. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, wait, it was
Epic.
Katherine the whole time. No, it was Lena. So I really like it. It's awesome.
That scene was amazing to me. And Katherine, you know, bit Dr. Jonas and he went down on the ground. And the whole reason Dr. Jonas had freaked out on everybody was because
of his son, because of Luca. That was so heartbreaking to lose him.
Doesn't this kind of aggravate me, because I liked them in a weird way, I liked them.
Well, they were good.
They were just working for the wrong person, and it frustrated me that they never wanted to listen. You know, and I understand they're so driven by the daughter, his daughter.
Yeah.
But I just feel like that could have been such an epic moment in the series, but maybe it would have been too many witches put together, and you know.
I kind of liked in the way that they killed Jonas too, if they were gonna kill Luca, because I felt if they were just gonna kill Luca, it'd be his father just way too much revenge, as we saw in the bar, but that would have just continued on until because this is a father who his daughter's been kidnapped and his son's been murdered,
right?
And it's pretty much his fault. So I'm glad that they kind of got rid of him, kind of got rid of that storyline of them. And
I almost wish they left Luca because I liked Luca.
I did too.
Really
I
did.
really thought that something might happen with Luca and Bonnie.
Yeah.
But it's all about Bonnie and Jeremy.
No, it is not. It is not about Bonnie and Jeremy. That is a relationship that I do not co-sign to.
Okay, why don't you co-sign with
I just don't buy it for completely different reasons. I don't buy Jenna and Rick. You know, Jeremy's the little brother.
But do you get this? I get the storyline between them. I get it, but I don't believe it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't get the storyline of, you know, Jeremy's been through all this traumatic stuff, and all he wants to do is help somebody. And really, when you think about, we're always thinking help Elena, but the person who's doing the most work in this show is Bonnie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and nobody's helping her. Her grandmother passed away, and she's by her. Yes,
May she rest in
I
peace.
miss Grams.
I like Grams.
So many times I'm like, whenever Bonnie's like down, I'm like, Grams, come back.
I know. Wasn't that the touching episode when she did pass away?
Yeah,
oh, I cried too. She did a good job with that.
I think the thing with Bonnie and Jeremy is they are both part of it, but on the outside.
Yes.
Which is why they are kind of perfect together, because they're kind of alone in a lot of it. And I think Elena said it well when she said he's been through so much in his life. He deserves someone as amazing as you. And I think it shows the growth of his character, that he's not like screwing around with Vicki or like girls like that, or I think it's a really sweet kind of, I don't know,
Now I liked Jeremy with that vampire, Rose's daughter,
Anna.
Yes, I
like
really really liked that.
I did.
But I just think Bonnie's too cool, too hot, too something.
I don't believe he could actually save her.
No.
Yeah, that's what I don't believe. I don't think he kind of thinks he's more powerful than her in some way, which and it happened in the last scene when they get in the fight, and he's trying to say, you can't do this, like he wants to protect her, and she says it, and she's saying, this is what I'm meant to do, and I think he does need to understand it, but I do like them as a pair, but I don't think he should think that he's more powerful, because he's not.
No. And now I'm gonna bring it back to my Buffy, but I am just because the relationship with this. Did you guys ever watch Buffy?
No.
There's a character, Xander, who plays Buffy's best friend, and he was Jeremy. He was the guy who was involved with witches, vampires, and he just wanted to be the superhero. And it's just like, you know, he ended up with a vampire, which I would actually prefer if Jeremy did end up with a vampire, because the witch is just like this super powerful character, and like you said, she's too hot for him. She's too grown. Like, she's dealing with some serious things.
I don't mind him having this crush on her, but for her to really return it, I just don't buy it.
And I feel like, do you feel like it's gonna?
I mean, I think.
Do you guys think it'll last, or do you think?
I think here's
he'll
the
get
thing.
hurt by this?
This is a television show. No relationships last. The only way,
Stefan and Elena are still
the
together.
Thing is, like,
girl, they need that. This is only the second
wait.
season.
Yeah, exactly. Like, whether they end up together in the series finale, that's a whole other question. But characters, that's the only way to keep the show interesting.
Right.
I promise you, every relationship, every couple will break up at some point.
Ouch, Emily.
Heard that hot over here.
I mean, I'm just being realistic because there's no television show if that's not true, and like I think I have a feeling how they will break up Elena and Stefan, and we can talk about that in the when we talk about predictions.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll see.
All right, so we talked about Bonnie and Jeremy, and now their little mission through.
Now, I just want to get it clear. Their mission was to go to the site where all the witches died to do what? What did that?
Yeah,
what did
that's
that?
what I didn't get either.
Well, she was going there to gain the powers of the witches.
Oh.
She knew she had to gain that.
See, I just thought as long as you do the spell at that
that's
location,
what I thought too.
then it would happen.
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Because the whole point was, remember at the end when Jeremy was like, what just went on? She's like, it's done. I have it. And he was like, you have what? And then they walked outside and she showed him, I have the power.
I didn't get it until then. I thought they were like just like walking around to see what was like.
Oh, I guess
scouting out the location.
that part didn't hit me until Damon at the end said she was locked and loaded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so we find out Bonnie is going to be the secret weapon
Bam.
of choice.
Yeah. Go Bonnie. Go B.
But I mean, we haven't even spoken about the most important part about this
Dun, dun, dun,
episode,
dun.
and here we are.
Klaus.
No, that's very important. But that's more next week's episode. That's gonna be like
okay.
the big thing in next week's episode.
Okay.
Elena's mother,
Oh yes.
Isabel.
came knocking on the door just to rain on everyone's parade. Isabel walked in. Poor little Jenna. Oh. You're the new girlfriend I see of my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Awkward.
I really
And right
think-
at that moment, because Jenna was like freaking out about the
Yeah.
whole situation. What were you gonna say?
Well, no. I was just gonna say that Jenna next week is probably gonna be in a bar somewhere, like
Yeah.
just trashed out. Cause she really.
Well, now wait. Where did Jenna go? Where did she say
said,
she was going?
She said she had to write a thesis.
She went back to campus.
So she went back to campus.
So maybe do we think she'll be back next?
I was surprised that
At the bar.
I was
Yeah.
surprised that she didn't come back. I thought this episode was gonna revolve around her a lot, and the fact that she like pieced out in the first act, I was like,
No, I just got it. I'm sorry, Emily. I did not mean to jump in there.
You're connecting with me right now.
Okay, so Jenna left. Jenna doesn't know anything because next week Eric's coming back as Klaus. So
Yes.
she's going to run into him and not still know anything. Oh, that is genius.
Genius.
Write that thesis, girl. That's good.
Well, and part of me, it kind of is a prediction, but part of me feels like maybe she will, because I want her to be a piece of the puzzle. I really want Jenna to be a piece of the puzzle. And I mean, we're just gonna let the cat out of the bag. I guess we'll end with Elena. But as we find out, Rick Klaus is in Rick.
Oh, so we're not talking about Isabel anymore.
Well, we'll talk about Isabel in a
okay.
second, but let's just talk about let's
Okay,
wrap up this
da-da-da-da.
Jenna story.
Okay.
So Klaus is inside Rick right now, and that's where they left us with the episode. And he's trapped in a room with Kat, and I don't know what that dynamic is going to be because they kind of left it with his hand on Kat, and he could just easily snap her neck and do something real crazy. But I think he's going to keep her for a bigger part of the plan because she knows a lot of information.
Yeah.
My question is, with Klaus in Rick's body, what does he know?
and here's the thing: does this mean Rick is dead?
Yeah. But the only reason I'm going to say no is because I don't believe that they'll do that to Jenna. I don't believe they'll do that to Jenna. Part of me almost, or maybe it's just a part of me that wants to believe in it, that Jenna will be able to trigger something within Rick. Because I have seen in other shows where they would do something like this, and especially when it comes to witches, vampires, and things like this, you can kind of, I'm going to go back to Buffy, godly characters, they've had, the good side versus evil, and which one is more powerful within yourself. So is Rick dead? I don't know. How will they have to kill Klaus? Will that affect Rick?
I do know that a Klaus has been cast, and we will see him
Yes.
in more than flashbacks.
Well, let's hold on that because we have that for news and gossip. So.
Okay.
Oh, well, I am so happy. I don't know what you know, Emily.
Yeah.
You said you like those spoilers and all
Yeah.
those things. I try to stay away from it and just like to go on the ride. And for this stop on the ride, I appreciate that they did not reveal the Klaus.
Yes.
Because you know what? I was disappointed in Elijah. I just kind of thought he was a little too soft for the Elijah I had in my head.
I totally agree.
So for me to continue to just want to see or just create this image of Klaus, it was nice to still have a Klaus without it either ruining my expectation or not.
By the way, I think they were supposed to bring him in earlier, but it took them so long to cast him because they could not find a guy who would make Damon shake in his boots. I think this guy has to be really scary.
Yeah, because Elijah to me wasn't.
No.
I mean, he grew on me after a few episodes, but at the beginning
His
I was like, boo.
smoothness.
I was like, you're
Smoothness,
too
I
pretty.
felt
I like
power.
the food. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
The kind of relaxed, kind of everything he did was so casual that it was just, that's what I liked about him, that he didn't really care. It was everything he did. He was
like effortless torture.
Exactly.
So yeah, that's where they left us out with right now. And that's kind of, I don't, please don't break Jenna again. Like, this girl is just getting stepped on, stomped on, lied to. Like, I can deal with it with Matt. I'm over Matt because Tyler's like the new hero in town. So let's boo
bring
Matt.
Tyler back.
Matt.
Oh, which I'm excited about whenever that happens. But
Yes.
yes.
I think with just back to Isobel.
Yep.
I kind of liked her after. Well, first of all, I also loved the episode she was in season 1 when Elena's like, how did you know Damon was going to give it to me? She's like, because he's in love with you. And I was like, oh, that's so awesome. But then she also says to Rick, I loved you. I don't know if you remember, but he takes his ring off. He takes the vervain away. And she says, I loved you. I will always regret it. I will. So you do see some humanity in her.
I believe that moment.
So then my question is, when she ripped off her pendant that kept her safe in the daylight, did she do that because she was compelled to do that? Or did she do that because she just felt so much guilt from her character?
Yeah, because remember, she gets the call and she, from the witch, from the warlock.
Which...
Go ahead,
mad, by the way.
Janora has an issue. Let's go. Bring it up.
I just thought it was just a goon of some sort. I didn't realize that it was a witch because the witches are supposed to be light-skinned black people, and he was not a light-skinned black guy.
So because I had always wondered about that, like, is that kind of racist that all the witches are black? Like, I
didn't think so. I just see that as, all the werewolves are darker tone, olive skin, white folks with dark hair, or not necessarily white folks, but you know what I'm saying, just dark. Yeah. Yes. Or I just saw them as like Creole-ish.
Exactly.
Like that's just the family. I didn't see it, and I didn't take offense to it in any way that it was racist. I only see it now that, okay, that dude is not in the family. He's not in the family of witches. Why is he there?
Well,
and it would have made me understand the storyline quicker, too, instead of misplacing him as a goon. I mean, I know they mentioned that Klaus had some witches in his corner, but when I initially saw him, I did not see him as a witch.
But I think maybe that was probably on purpose, because I think now in the show you see a black person, you're like, okay, they're a witch.
I like it.
So
I love it.
I think they kind of wanted to be like,
well, let's.
Oh, this regular guy. Oh my God, I think it was done very.
It was somebody's cousin. No offense, you did not do a bad job, but you were somebody's cousin because you should have not been the warlock.
Well, let's look at it this way: every witch that Bonnie has been involved with has been light skinned, or and because who was Kat's friend?
What was her name? Lucy.
Lucy came into play now, and they all kind of have a love for each other. Yeah, that we've seen.
Yes, it's just
with the family
family.
Right. So maybe this family, you know what I mean, of witches, because now we're playing with evil warlocks, and other people could learn dark magic.
Okay, Jesse, now that you said that, it is redeemable.
I think it was definitely a very conscious move.
Absolutely.
It was completely intentional.
Even the way he looked.
Yeah, it was
very goonish.
He looked like a vampire.
He did.
He looked like a vampire.
I thought he was going to be a vampire until he did that little whatever they do, and it stimulates their brain or whatever. When he did that, it was just like, you guys are about to bring in some serious powers. That just this little minion can come around and do this to all these people. And I mean, you've already knocked out Rick. You've knocked out Matt. You're knocking all these people out right now with just the minion. What is Klaus going to do? Someone's going to die. Someone is going to die.
Oh, well, I think that's something that's been very clear. And I mean, we've seen in episodes past, it's a show that they are not afraid to kill off regular cast members.
Oh, please, I'm going to be so upset.
Which is, by the way, that was my main fear when Sheriff Forbes found out about Caroline. I'm like, she is not going to be the one to die. Caroline can't be the one to die, because I think Caroline adds a lot of lightness to the show and humor.
And she's come a long way. When she was originally introduced, I just thought she was like this airhead, floozy kind of girl. But she keeps it real, and she's growing up. Yeah, you put it perfectly.
And we're seeing all of these characters grow up. And what were your before we go to a commercial break, what were your feelings when it came to Isobel dying? I mean, she had that moment at the end with Elena, and I felt it was really beautiful. I really liked it. I did like it. I didn't like how they brought Isobel into the story. That bothered me. I didn't believe it.
It was season one with
season
Rick.
1, and also today. This last episode.
It was a little random.
Very random.
It was a little
quick.
It was a little as if they did it so they could get Jenna pissed off, and that they could spark everything with Jenna and Alaric. I don't really think it had much to do with Elena and that whole thing, because after the whole Katherine thing, they kind of ended up back at square one in many ways.
Yeah.
So she didn't really have a huge effect on the whole Klaus Moonstone thing. It was really just to get Alaric to Klaus, and then for Jenna to find out.
Well, he does have the Moonstone now because of her.
Also, it was so they could have the moment with Elena and John, her father, where she says, "You're the only parent I have left, so I have to trust you. I have to
not hate you so much.
Yeah, I have to give you the benefit of the doubt."
And I'm sorry.
No.
What bothers me is, I almost, as much as I didn't like how Isobel was brought into the story, I feel Isobel could have grown on me as an influential character. John doesn't grow on me.
I agree. I totally agree with that. John is just blah.
Yeah.
But Isobel is interesting enough, or has enough layers that maybe if you dig a little bit deeper. But I did not buy her whole, I feel bad, I feel guilty about the way I've treated people and my daughter, so I'm going to kill myself. I didn't buy that.
I didn't like her killing herself for the fact that we can't have her back now.
Right.
And I, like you said, like her. But I think it was just for Elena to really have that connection with her father, who is a bigger part of all of this.
I mean, I don't know. This show is just... I got to say, from the beginning of this show, when it first started, I didn't know what they were doing. And then I got to say, on TV right now, there's no show for me, personally, that takes twists and turns.
No.
And they're very daring with where they go.
I try to tell people, because it's a CW show, and CW shows kind of have a...
basic.
Campy.
And also, they kind of have a very, what's the word? Like, people don't give them a chance, because it's CW. They think it's young. They think it's like, why an award show would never recognize it? But it really is such unbelievable storytelling.
I agree.
That isn't seen in a lot of places. And like I was saying before, the writers are there till 4 o'clock in the morning, consistently.
Well, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about that in our special segment right after the next commercial break.
Want to find out what the AfterBuzz is about?
Janice is a drama queen.
This is the divide that is going to carry the series.
Give us a call at 347-855-8269.
This television, and they want it to be as dramatic as possible.
I mean, it's Shakespearean.
You never know what goes on behind closed doors.
Get in on the AfterBuzz. 347-855-8269.
Now, in the eyes of Jimmy, Nucky is a villain.
Listen on iTunes.
I mean, who would you guys rather hear that from?
Find us on Facebook.
Your husband or your best friend?
Follow us on Twitter.
But then she's trying to kill him, so it justifies it. I'm like, oh, now it makes sense.
And visit us at AfterBuzzTV.com.
The wig will come off. That wig come off, baby. Oh, what?
Boardwalk Empire. Desperate Housewives. Glee. Gossip Girl. Breaking Bad. Mad Men. True Blood. The Walking Dead. Big Love. Jersey Shore. The Oscars. Celebrity Rehab. The Emmys. If it's hot, you can bet we'll be buzzing about it.
What do we got here?
Is this not the Vampire Diaries theme song? Was I lied to by YouTube?
Is this the theme song to Vampire Days? I don't.
It has a bunch of pictures. It's got everything.
Well, then it
Maybe the
No.
Just
outro.
might
No,
be.
it's not
No.
the intro.
No.
You know? Well, they have a ton of music. Like, I think
Yeah.
that's one of the
This is
things
definitely
about
a
the
theme
show.
of the song. Like, I could definitely hear this being played in.
No, because they don't have a. It's the main titles is just a.
Real quick, right?
The main titles is just a.
Yeah, Vampire
Vampire Diaries. Yeah.
Well, so, all right. But
Well,
for a special.
if you two, if Vampire Diaries did have a theme song,
This
this
would
would
be
be it, according to you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Phil. That's
Thanks,
Phil
Phil.
Svitek, our producer, in the booth right now.
By the way, I blame you for that since you're not in the booth. You can't cross-check that.
Well, I just appreciate you putting the effort in, Phil. So, I mean, quickly, we're going to talk our special segment. We're going to talk about fandom with these cult shows. I mean, I know you guys are gonna get sick of me saying it.
Buffy. Something about Buffy. Go, Jesse.
The
go.
reason why, and I kind of almost want you guys to go back and watch a couple episodes of it. And the reason why is you said this about the CW, and the CW grew off of the WB.
Yeah.
And, you know, shows like Dawson's Creek, and they're all campy type shows. The thing about Buffy, and I feel a lot of people didn't get into Buffy, was because if you just look at it, you're looking at vampires and, okay, ooh, who wants to see, see this unrealistic thing? But what I loved about Buffy is every situation, every episode, the characters were so deep, and it's like with Vampire Diaries, every character you get sucked into their storyline. And the writing on Buffy is so similar to Vampire Diaries.
Really?
It's ridiculous.
Do they have some of the same writers on?
No.
No.
But
Buffy was Joss Whedon.
yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
But with Buffy, it was whoever the evil. I mean, the build up with this season is exactly how Buffy would build up their season finale. With the characters putting everybody into place. I mean, I lost some characters who I did not want to lose. I was very upset
I'm getting
about this.
teary-eyed right now. I see it from across the table.
I mean, you think I'm obsessed with this? Like, Buffy was my life.
You know
Wow.
what? Well, just about Buffy, because after I became like obsessed with this show, I tried to watch Buffy, and I felt it was much more campy. It was like kind of with the it was much with the costumes and the makeup and
Well, I mean,
like
also,
the
it was
zombie.
the 90s.
It was it was much more.
She's talking about your show.
Well, no,
Much
everyone
more
has their opinions. But when it comes down to it,
couldn't really
to
do
me, what I totally agree when I watch it. That when I watch it now, you know, their vampire faces. I'm like, oh, really? Like,
Yeah, it's
But
much
back
cheesier.
then, when it was on, I was like, oh my gosh, like his face morphed into this craziness. But what I liked about it was every episode was so relatable to it. Growing up in teenage, you know, a teenager. You know, she's in high school. She's fighting demons, which relates to demons that we fight every day. It's just in a physical form of a monster. And the writing of it, I don't think people got that. you know, and I'm somebody who I watch something, I rip it apart. I'm like,
Yeah.
why did they do that? What does this mean? Why is this here? And Joss Whedon did that, and it was an hour episode, but the characters, I'm just seeing so many similarities with Vampire Diaries, and that's when I started to fall in love. Because when I first watched Vampire Diaries, I was kind of like, oh God, they're going to rip off Buffy right now. They brought the witch in, but the witch, you know, Willow was the witch from Buffy. It was totally different dynamic, and she's best friends with the main female on the show, and so isn't this one with the main female on the show. But with this show, they're taking it and making it their own, which is why I have so much respect for it. And it's funny because, you know, you have Gossip Girls, you have Desperate Housewives, and people love those shows, but it's so much different than, you know, you said we came out the closet of the love for Vampire Diaries.
Yeah, I'm a grown-ass black woman, and I'm in love with Vampire Diaries.
It's also, it's not a high school show. It's like, when was the last time you saw any of them do homework or do any kind of high school drama? There's no, like, even, that's the thing that I can't.
They really don't touch it.
Yeah, like, there's no, like, oh my God, my teacher, like, has a crush on me or, like, anything like that. It's not really a high school show. There's none of that, which is why I think it appeals to an older audience and why it is CW's most successful show, because people are sick of, by the way, no one really watches Gossip Girl. Right. No one watches 90210.
Well, actually, we do have a big Gossip Girl fans here at AfterBuzz.
No, it has a big fan base, but when it comes to actual ratings,
sticking with it.
It's, I mean, it would have been canceled after 3 episodes on any other network.
By the way, we gotta tap into the Greek market because those people love Gossip Girl, love violent. Our biggest audience for AfterBuzz is the Greeks.
Wow, are you Greek, Phil?
Absolutely not.
But Phil does love him some Gossip Girl.
I love me some Gossip Girl too, but as a and it's like this show
it's
too.
like candy. You just have a little
exactly.
piece
It's
of
a
it when you
guilty
want it.
pleasure. And I think that's the thing. A lot of people think, oh, Vampire Diaries is probably just a guilty pleasure. It is so much more than that.
It is.
Like, it is actually a well-written show.
Absolutely.
It is quality television.
It's funny you said that about the high school thing, because I actually was reminded that they were in high school in this episode when Elena at the beginning was Stefan. She was like, oh, I got to get to class, or I have to finish homework or something like that, or, you know, I can't be late for school again.
Yeah.
And
that
then
was
it hit
at the
me.
beginning of The House Guest.
Yeah. Oh, House Guest.
Oh,
and
okay.
It kind of hit me, and I was like, okay, I'm not bothered by it, but thinking about it, I'm a little like, is this real right now? Like, why isn't anybody worried? Why isn't Jenna worried? Like, why aren't you going to school?
Exactly.
You know, like that topic never comes up.
Isn't there don't they get a report card? It's like, oh, you have some absences. But also what I think is good is one of the things that is they run into in every high school show, and they still really haven't gotten a great solution for it, is they do it based off the school year. This they don't do based off the school year at all.
No, it's totally based off
It's
the
based off the
characters
character, whatever event. They've never had a Christmas episode. They've never had this kind of episode.
Well, now they have the prom coming up, right?
Yes, they do.
Next week.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not the prom?
It's
no,
a
it's
60s
a dance.
dance.
Yes,
it's just
Oh,
a 60s dance.
oh, maybe I'm confusing the movie that's coming
out.
out.
Oh, yeah, there's a prom.
But it's a dance.
Don't mix Disney with
I'm sorry.
Vampire Diaries. So how did you guys fall in love with the show?
I think
what drew you to this show? Because for me, my initial feel was Buffy, and so I liked this type of genre. So when I watched Twilight, because I want to throw this out there, so I want you guys to go based off of this.
Twilight tidbit, which we'll get to in predictions.
Okay.
I have a Twilight tidbit.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw this out there, and I want you guys to go off of this. I'm a Buffy fan, so I was
I couldn't tell.
based off of the so I was very critical about Vampire Diaries at first. Fell in love with it when Twilight came out. Also, when Vampire Diaries came out, Twilight had already been out, and I was like, oh, what are they doing? Like, are they really trying to really market off this?
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm not a Twilight fan.
Neither am I.
What's the main girl in Twilight?
Bella.
Bella. I mean, if any actress, no disrespect to you, Kristen, but she is the most unbelievable character I've ever met in my life.
Ouch. Well, for me, I read the books. When I saw the Twilight books, when I saw the first movie, I said I can't watch the movies anymore because I loved the books.
Right, and I totally
absolutely
know
love
the
the books.
differences
So
between books and movies.
that opened up my love for this fantasy genre. I don't have cable, so when the whole True Blood following happened,
Not a True Blood person.
I
can't
was
get
left
into True
in the
Blood either.
dust.
Have you ever seen an episode of True Blood?
Here's my True Blood experience. I was watching an episode of Entourage, and True Blood was before, and so I turned it on a little earlier, and I'd heard like so many great things about True Blood, and literally the only part I saw was like it was some violent sex scene that looked like he was raping a girl, and then he turned her head like 360 degrees, like, and it was like the weirdest thing I've ever seen, and I was like, okay, I don't think I can get into the show. But based off of, because I've never read the Twilight books, like I wasn't a Twilight, I like fantasy, I'm a huge Harry Potter nerd.
Okay.
But as for Twilight, I was always Vampire Diaries above Twilight. And when I saw Eclipse and how they killed all the vampires just by like punching them and like throwing them on the ground and they were just like glass, I was like, wait, these aren't real vampires. Vampires, before all these shows, or before, it is common knowledge that a vampire, to kill them, you stake them in the heart. Like, what? I'm confused.
Well,
This
I
is
think you would
weird.
have a greater appreciation if you read the books, because I just don't think the movies did them any justice.
I totally agree, because I there's not that I've read the Twilight books, but there are other books that I've read and that I've made into movies, and I know the differences, so I totally understand that. But you were because I kind of cut you off. You got into the Twilight books, which opened you up into Vampire Diaries.
Right.
Which got you into the Vampire Diaries, or did you come
Well,
late
no,
into the season?
I just had a tip, so I guess I'll give a shout out to Danielle and Brandy Slayton. Yeah, they are the first Vampire Diary fans that I ever knew of. This is like first season one, and they were like, Jay, you gotta watch it, you gotta watch it. So I finally watched it, and after that first episode, I was sold.
You hooked.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The first episode.
That was an AfterBuzz TV exclusive.
Exclusive. I was sold.
What about you, Emily?
For me, it was weird. I knew somebody on the cast, so it was kind of, and that kind of freaks me out, like seeing them in like a different light like that. I was kind of like, wait, this is weird. But then everybody was talking about it. One of my roommates at the time was obsessed with it. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll watch one episode. And it's pretty much the same thing that happened with Jersey Shore. It's like you watch one episode and you're like, damn, I'm hooked. I can't stop watching. This is unbelievable. So I think I pretty much watched every single episode back to back, stayed up all night, and was addicted ever since.
So now, I know, Emily, you and I kind of go along the lines of, if they kind of slip up with a vampire fact, and it's funny because there are vampire fans, zombie fans, people who love zombie movies, and they're very like
specific.
Like, oh, you can't kill a zombie with a dirty shot, like crazy like things like, what? How do you even know that? But I mentioned to you today, most vampires can't be seen in the mirror. And as we see in the Vampire Diaries, Caroline was clearly looking at herself in the mirror, and you were going to say something to that.
In the episode after Elena finds out that Stefan is a vampire, she says to him, they go out to coffee, she says, explain everything. And she's like, holy water. And he's like, drinkable, mirror, myth, I know you eat garlic. And it's like rumor or something. And so it was kind of cleared up. And then she says, so you can walk it, but you can walk in the day. And he's like, oh, I have this ring. And the ring thing, like, I don't know, because I don't know if we've mentioned, but the Vampire Diaries were a very big book. as well.
That's right.
So, and I'll bring that up in a second, but so I don't know how much, if that was from the book or if that really...
that is a vampire fact. They even pulled that in Buffy.
Oh,
Angel
really?
was given a ring.
Okay, I didn't know
and he was
that.
able to walk in daylight. He didn't get it. He didn't keep it for long, but that was so that is a vampire.
Yeah, so it was something that was, I think one of the reasons it was done was so they could make these vampires as human as possible.
That's true.
I'll buy that.
No, absolutely.
I'll buy that.
So now, did you coming into this so Twilight was like the first?
Well, Twilight had a
fantasy-
chapter about that too, about what you think about vampires might not all be true.
Right.
So
because we saw like the glittering.
By the way, there's a really good scene where Damon is reading New Moon.
Really?
It's in that episode we were talking about earlier with the crystal, and it's when him and Caroline are getting ready for a party, and he's on her bed reading it, and she knows that he's a vampire because he's compelled her.
Yep.
It was in that time, and he's reading it, and he's like, this Edward guy is so whipped, and says something else, and he's like, what's the big deal with this Bella girl? And she's like, oh, you have to read the first book. She goes, why don't you sparkle in the sun? And he goes, because I live in the real world where vampires burn in the sun. She's like, but you don't. He's like, I have a ring. So
very interesting. And now, what were you going to
really
speak
fun.
to about the books Vampire Diaries?
Well, this has to do with predictions.
Okay.
But
well, we have so many predictions, girl. You can say that.
Okay. Julie Plec, who the writer, had said the big part of the book is Elena's transformation and into a vampire.
Oh.
A huge
totally
part of the
feel
book.
That.
And she had said, we don't want to do it because it seems very Twilight-ish. However, here's my thing. She said that, I looked at it online this morning, she said that January of last year. Now, Twilight's going to last, the Breaking Dawn Part 2 comes out November 2012. I don't think they can wait that long to turn Elena into a vampire.
Really?
I think it's one of the few ways that they can break up Elena and Stefan and put her and Damon together, which I know a lot of people want.
But to me...
And I think, and I don't think, and she also said there will be, which as a Buffy fan you will understand, she says there will be a time where we'll go to a Monster of the Week format.
Okay.
So I have my prediction is that is going to be the season 2 cliffhanger. And then next season will be about her, because here's the thing. We know why she looks like Katherine. We know all the things we've been wondering from, and by the way, credit to the writers, they came up with this whole originals thing. They can bring things out of nowhere that will surprise us.
Right.
But I do think, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's something the network has even said to them, that you have to do this, because they can't wait until Twilight is over to turn her into a vampire, because the show could be over before then.
But to me, tell me what you guys think about this. If they turn Elena into a vampire, it's almost...
The end. Story's over.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't...
Where do we go? And I mean, they could go into the whole, like, we're vampires, we're a clan, and we're gonna, go fight and do all this stuff.
I hope not.
Yeah.
But don't you think, like, because her transition, and it'll obviously be a bigger transition than, because Stefan's not going to like it. Like, part of her appeal to Stefan is that she's human.
Right.
So, and I said, it's a television show. They're going to have to, Stefan and Elena cannot be together for every episode for the rest of the show. And it's not the kind of relationship where they can't, or it's not the kind of show even where they can bring in like a hot girl or a hot guy that one of them will fall in love, will be attracted to. I mean, Damon's already there. Stefan's gonna have to do something really effed up.
So you're saying end of season 3 cliffhanger?
No, ends of this season.
Really?
I think it's
I think
too
that's
soon.
too soon. I
I
think
think
end
it's
of
too
season
soon.
3, I could kind of see
I may or
it.
may not have heard a spoiler that someone was going to die and then come back.
Spoiler alert! Spoiler
Nora's
alert!
we're gonna have to
Spoiler
switch the
alert.
table sides.
Emily, I need you to warn me in advance so I can put my fingers in my
Spoiler
ears.
alert! Spoiler
We
alert!
expect that though.
Spoiler
Yeah.
alert!
Oh, yeah. Now, if you told me who would have died,
I don't know
Emily,
who
I
would've
would-
died.
I would have.
Well,
I don't know
I
who
could
they
already
died.
kind of predict this. I feel Rick is going to
Oh,
die.
I think he's
and-
disposable. He's
No,
disposable.
but not disposable. I feel power of 100 witches. We've seen Bonnie has some crazy powers.
I wouldn't be surprised if she did.
Bonnie
if she
can't
takes
go.
him, what's that?
Bonnie can't die.
No.
Oh,
never,
you're just
never.
saying-
I'm
Yeah.
saying I believe she's going to be the one to take Klaus out of Rick's body.
Okay.
And, I mean, we're really getting into predictions right now. But I believe that they'll leave that kind of... Although Rick dying at the end of this season isn't a cliffhanger to
Yeah.
me. Like, it's like...
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah.
And
It's sad.
Here's the thing,
It's
like,
sad.
he kind of... There's a possibility that he's already dead.
He needs a haircut. Either way.
Well,
By the way,
I don't think he's dead.
About that scene, because I watched it on my computer in not amazing quality, because I know... Did you know that it was Alaric from the back?
Yes,
Oh
I
yeah.
figured.
Oh yeah. Because
Oh,
where
'cause
where
I
else did he
couldn't-
go?
I was like-
No, that was great. That was great.
Because you knew like when he was sitting in
Yes.
that chair that it was him.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And I watched it on the computer too. It was just that it was the only. He's the most relic of all of them because there's so much mystery around him.
Yeah.
Which means like I could see him dying and coming back because he's clearly an important key. Another person, I don't like how they just kind of throw these people into the show. And at first I'm like, no, you can't do that. You can't add that to that.
Yeah.
But then when I get a little taste of
Yeah.
it, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I like this. And so Rick's growing on me, and I can see in the future him being somebody of importance because we don't know the whole story about him. We know him and Isobel, but we don't know the depth.
Well, depth of what he knows.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think he's dead. I think he's alive. What it reminds me of is Heroes. Remember when like Siler took over old
Yes,
dude's body?
yes.
Yeah. So I think he's still in there somewhere because it's all a spell. I don't think he had to die first.
So that's great because
Yeah.
I'm thinking Buffy, but you've
Yeah.
seen Heroes, so you
Yes.
understood how he could switch like. I'm not close. You know what I mean? Like I'm not close. I'm
right, and just kind of like maybe if the witch dies, who put that spell on there, like maybe
Right.
then that can be released.
All right. Well, we're
So
getting into
here's-
predictions. So
yeah.
wait, what were we gonna say?
Well, I was
Wrap
just
it
gonna
up. We'll
say,
go to news.
there was 8 cliffhangers for the last season finale. There was 8 of them. So
Oh, I definitely. I mean,
yeah.
this episode
So-
had how many cliffhangers?
yeah. So
Yeah.
there was 8 for the last season finale. So either there's gonna be one huge one or a bunch of little ones. So we'll see.
All right. Well, we're gonna get into predictions, but first, let's go to news and
AFTERBUZZ TV News.
So Katrina Graham has promised that fans of Vampire Diaries will be scared by Klaus. Klaus, who is played by Joseph Morgan, is expected to make his first appearance on the show in the April 21st episode.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Graham said, I think the viewers will be just as freaked out as we all get when we're in his scenes. So if they're afraid of him in person, I can imagine this. All right, you might want to take your headphones off for this one. Girl, you might want to plug your ears up for this one.
I will.
The executive producer of Vampire Diaries has promised that the current storylines will be tied up in the season finale. Speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Julie Plec revealed that the characters will have to face some difficult moments in the upcoming episode, saying, quote, there's going to be a lot to deal with. She said, and there's a lot of our heroes are going through some pretty dark times and trying to come out to the other side. However, Plec explained that there won't be too many loose ends when the season comes to a close. The one thing that we know that we don't want to do this year is leave 13 threads dangling at the end of the season. All right, Janora? So,
I'm back.
I kind of called it.
you did. She did kind of call this. We can talk about it because she did kind of call this. They basically explained to us that they're not going to have that many threads at the end of the season. Understandable, because season 1 they kind of want to suck you in.
Yeah.
Season 2, they're giving us Klaus. They're giving us a huge climax in the story, and we're going to be interested Klaus is gonna F some stuff up in Mystic Falls.
So then, do you know then maybe what the 4 instead of 8 cliffhangers might be this time after the whole Klaus, whatever happens with him?
Well,
Tyler comes back and is back to some werewolves and maybe something else. But I think it'll have to involve something that'll make people still come back.
Absolutely. All right. So, and that's your AfterBuzz Vampire Diaries news and gossip for the week of April 9th, 2011. And we just can't even contain it. Ladies and gentlemen, predictions.
For
I don't have
week.
any. I'm just teasing.
All right. So here's how we're
for
going to do
next week.
predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
We're going to talk about predictions for next week, and we're going to do it in this order. Matt and Caroline, what do we think's happening with that storyline?
Well, can we base it off the preview? We saw the preview.
I didn't see the preview.
Oh, I didn't see the elongated preview either.
Go ahead, give us the preview.
The preview is they go together to the dance.
They do?
She's Jackie and he's JFK, which I think is really cute.
This sounds like a setup.
So they do go together to the dance, which is, I had known that they did before, which is why I was kind of shocked that he went behind her back and was on vervain the whole time. So, I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of falls back in love with her at the dance, if he kind of there's some moral conflict.
Well, we
kind of
saw that in the car. He kind of looked upset that he was gonna tell.
So maybe he might go against the mother. I don't know. We'll see.
What do we think the mother's gonna do?
I think she might have some sort of
breakdown.
Something at the no. She's is gonna get some energy because she's ready to take down these vampires. So she might set up some kind of shakedown at the dance, because I'm sure. Well, no, I'm not sure. It all depends on what Caroline told him. Did she tell him something about Damon and Stefan? It's Stefan. I don't know. We'll see. I think it's too early though for him to fall back in love with her, though.
I do too.
I think they're gonna stretch that part out.
And especially because, I'm just rooting for Tyler.
I'll wait until he comes
I think
back.
that this is gonna be the break in Caroline where she kind of realizes we're different, and almost remember when she was with Matt and she kept saying, I don't want to be in a relationship with him because I want to, but I don't, because I want him to live a normal life. I don't want him to be involved with what I'm going through.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be the realization. He really said to her tonight, I want you to erase my memory.
Yeah.
He said that to her. Mm-hmm. And he knew damn well that it wasn't going to. But he still said it, and we felt it.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning she felt it and he felt it. And we saw that he felt it in the car. Do I think that he'll kind of regret what he did? Yes. But with the mother, I'm kind of feeling she's going to do something that's going to screw up their plans. Because we have 6 episodes.
Yes.
It's going to screw up their plans attacking Klaus. But I feel in the end, it might bring humans and vampires having to work together.
That'd be interesting.
To destroy this guy, because I believe, I don't know how they're gonna top Klaus next season with what monster they're gonna create, but I feel he is gonna come in and really destroy half of this town. Look at the witch, Dr. Jonas. We had, he went in this bar and boldly was like, "Joo, joo, joo."
Yeah.
And why did nobody freak out at this?
Yeah.
It's how is that not a huge storyline and a huge it was wait, don't you think people would be talking about that at school the next day?
Absolutely. All right, so anything that you guys have for predictions lastly?
Well, here's what interests me. Bonnie's supposed to have all this power. and we see her nosebleed in the next episode. So
I think Jeremy's gonna try to be a superhero and get hurt.
I definitely could see that. And maybe Gawny will be the one. She uses her powers, saves the day, and dies, and maybe they'll bring her back. Meaning to bring her back.
What if Bonnie was a witch and then came back as a vampire? That would be crazy.
Can you be a witch and a vampire?
I don't know.
That's a lot to be added to one character. Like, you have to kill a black girl on the show.
Yeah, you gotta keep the one black girl alive. Keep her alive.
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna try to stay alive this whole week because I can't wait till next week's episode.
Cannot wait.
Unfortunately, Emily won't be with us next week, but she promises she will have scoops, and she is our inside girl.
Yes, you are, girl. We'll represent for you, though.
So
I'll call in.
Yes, please make sure you call in.
Do.
I'll call in.
So next week, we'll actually be live Thursday.
Live Thursday, right after the show.
After the show, so make sure you guys check us out then at 9 o'clock. And that's it, guys. We love you.
Thank you.
All you Vampire Diaries fans, peace out.
Peace.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janedy, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz
you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.